Good morning, my friend. I hope you're doing well. It is Wednesday, 28 December 2022. We are almost at the end of this year, and I got to tell you, I'm excited. Lisa and I, Tata and I, Harvey and Lewis and I are excited about 2023. It's going to be a great year. We got a new book coming out. We're going to teach people all around the world how to do self-brain surgery and change their minds and change their lives. We're booking public speaking engagements for the summer, and we're just really, really excited about all the things that are coming. Listen, if you are not a paid subscriber of the podcast or the newsletter, please check out drleewarren.substack.com. See all the things that are available to the people who are joining us as partners to help finance this work and make it possible for us to take it even more far and even wider. And I think just see if you feel called to join us in this work. We got a lot of exciting things coming. We're going to have several episodes a week that are only for paid subscribers. We're going to have some new resources, video chats, all kinds of things coming for paid subscribers for next year. So just think about that. If you feel called to help promote this work and push it out farther to an even larger audience as the years go by, and consider drleewarren.substack.com joining us as a paid subscriber. Listen, friend, today I'm going to go back and play you part of an episode that was just for the paid subscribers last year that we call linear regression. It's a way to use data analysis to look back at what's working and what's not working in your life. And as we get into this last week of what we call dry December, we're letting God dry some things up so we can kind of stop thinking about the past and let Him do a new thing. We get rid of the old things that are holding us back. Let Him make a way in a wilderness, even if it seems impossible. Let Him make a way where there is no way. We're going to let God do something great in 2023 so we can find out what it means when He says, hey, I want to give you the year of the Lord's favor. We want to be part of that. And I want you to take hold of everything He has in store for you. We need to stop shooting ourselves in the foot and holding ourselves back. We need to stop circling around the same old problems and really let Him break free, because you know what happens? Jesus said in the book of John 8:36, who the Son sets free is free indeed. If you're ready for freedom, if you're ready to stop feeling like you've been held back by the same old thing, and the same old, and every day is so hard, and why does my life always feel this way? If you're ready for it to be different in 2023, let Him grow something up in this fertile ground that He's been tilling and telling your story in a different way in 2023. So we're going to look at this linear regression idea. I want to give you one of my favorite Tommy Walker songs. It's from his Book of John in Song, the Gospel of John in Song concert that he did a few years ago, a song called Free Indeed. We're just going to camp out on John 8:36 a little bit. And I want you to learn a new mathematical tool that'll help you analyze the data of your life. So as we get into these last few days of 2023, and I'm going to bring you some more helpful things to think about for next year. One of those is to learn how to analyze the data and look at where you've been and how to get to where you want to go. And remember, you can't change your life until you change your mind. Lisa's going to tell us the good news that we can start today.
Hey, are you ready to change your life? If the answer is yes, there's only one rule. You have to change your mind first. And my friend, there's a place where the neuroscience of how your mind works smashes together with faith and everything starts to make sense. That place is called self-brain surgery. You can learn it, and it will help you become healthier, feel better, and be happier. And the good news is you can start today.
Thanks, Lisa. Hey, so glad to have you listening today. I'm Dr. Lee Warren, and I live in Nebraska in the United States of America with my incredible wife, Lisa, my father-in-law, Tata, and the super pups, Harvey and Lewis. I'm a neurosurgeon and an author, and I'm here to help you harness neuroscience, the power of your brain, faith, the power of your spirit, and good old common sense to help you lead a healthier, better, happier life. Listen, friend, you can't change your life until you change your mind, and I'm here to help you learn the art of self-brain surgery to get it done. If you like the show, please subscribe so you never miss an episode, and tell your friends about it. If you tell 2 or 3 friends this podcast was helpful to you, imagine how much good we can all do around the world together. I'm Dr. Lee Warren, and I'm here to help you change your mind so you can change your life. Let's get after it.
I've been thinking a lot about, Tata always says that he needs to sweep out the temple once a week or so. And he's talking about, of course, just kind of staying in shape and being careful with his diet and making sure he doesn't drink too much or do anything that would harm his body, because he wants to live and be sharp and function well as far as and as long as God will allow him to. And I found a scripture, 1 Corinthians chapter 9, 26 and 27, where Paul says, I run with purpose in every step. I am not just shadowboxing. I discipline my body. The King James says, buffet my body. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching to others, I might myself be disqualified. So he's saying basically I'm going to square myself away. And that's what we've been talking about with All In August, right? I'm going to keep myself squared away so that I'm not a hypocrite when I tell other people to square themselves away. And this is something I've been dealing with because as a person who is a provider of medical services, I'm a physician, surgeon, I'm always telling other people what they need to do to be healthy. At the same time, I'm a podcaster and a writer, and I'm always telling people how they can change their thinking and how they can manage different parts of their lives. And I need to be really, really squared away in my own life. So I started thinking about what are some ways that we could analyze the things that we do and figure out the things that need to stay or need to go or need to be increasing in percentage of time or effort or energy we put into them or adding to our lives versus the things that we ought to be decreasing or getting rid of. And I remembered an old mathematical tool from college, calculus, algebra, called linear regression. I don't know if you're a math person or not, but linear regression is analysis. Basically is how you can look at a set of data and you can figure out, you can look at a particular outcome that you want to measure, like let's say grade point average. Okay, if you looked at a bunch of kids and how they perform in school and you wanted to figure out what variables go into calculating or predicting what grade point average a given student might have, then the grade point average in that model would be the dependent variable. That would be the one that is dependent on the other factors in the equation as to what it's going to turn out to be. So if you looked at, let's say, 100 fourth graders and you said, or let's not say fourth graders, they don't have grade point averages. Let's say 100 high school juniors, okay? How could you predict what factors would go into increasing or decreasing a grade point average? Well, obviously there might be some things like IQ might be important, right? Well, that would be an independent variable in this equation. The grade point average would be the dependent variable, and the IQ would be one of the independent variables. Another one might be upbringing. Do they come from a single parent home? Did they come from a stable family? Did they come from a foster system? Did they come from, a family with means and wealth, or from poverty? So did environment depend on it? Is environment a factor? You could look at things like race or geographic location or any of those kinds of things. Were their parents college educated? You could look at all kinds of different things. And you could look at individual characteristics like dedication, how much they study, how much time they spend, attendance in class, how many days of absence did they have. You could probably find a whole bunch of different things that could turn out to be independent variables that would then be predictive of how grade point average is going to turn out, right? So the point is, not talking about grade point average today, but the point is, if you want to understand how a particular thing happens or how to potentially predict the occurrence of a particular thing or the quality or the number of a particular thing, then there's going to be a whole bunch of variables that go into calculating that, right? So let's talk about ourselves. So for example, on the physical front, if I wanted to say, well, what things go into whether I'm at the weight that I want to be at or not? So if I'm really comfortable. I'm about almost 5'9", just a little shy of 5'9", not a really tall guy. Only man on either side of my family, by the way, that never reached 6 feet. But I'm also the only brain surgeon, so you got that. But let's say, okay, so I'm 5'9" or so, almost 5'9". And I am really comfortable at a body weight around 175 pounds, okay? And I'm a little over that right now. So if I want to be 175 pounds, what factors go into me maintaining that weight, right? So the dependent variable is my body weight. The independent variables are things like how much do I eat? What kinds of things do I eat? How much alcohol do I drink? How much chocolate do I eat? How many bags of Cheetos do I have every night, right? All those things. How much exercise do I get? How many hours of fasting do I do each day? All of those independent variables would then go into the equation and ultimately produce my ability to predict and manage my body weight, right? So, okay, on the, let's say, financial front, if I said, I'd really like to have, make up a number, $100,000 on my savings account by the end of X year, right? What would the factors that went into that be? It would be obviously your income, how much you save, how much you invest, how much things you buy, how many cars and rifles do you buy, how many guitars and pieces of jewelry and handbags do you buy versus how much you save every month. All of those things would go into your financial situation, right? I want to be debt-free by the end of 2023. Well, how could you do that? It would be all the things about how much you save every month, how much you invest, how much you pay on all those accounts versus how many other things you buy or how much spending you have or how much money you give to your kids. All those things would go into the financial equation of your life, right? And so what I thought about for today, if we're talking about the context of buffeting our bodies, of disciplining our bodies, and not just our physical body, but our mind, our spirit, our work, our relationships, our finances, all of those things, if we're talking about disciplining ourselves and sweeping out the temple and really trying to be squared away so we're not hypocrites and so that we're maximizing our life, let's start doing some regression analysis and let's go backwards in time and let's just start thinking about what we did yesterday that produced what happened today. Now, let's say that we want to think about how can I be more efficient at work? How can I be more productive, be better at surgery, be better at whatever you do for a living, selling insurance or teaching school or being a nuclear physicist or whatever it is that you do. Let's say, how could you look at today and regress it back to yesterday and learn from it? Okay, so start thinking about this, okay? If I wake up in the morning and I feel super tired and groggy and I don't feel very good, I could say to myself, okay, what happened yesterday? What kind of variables did I put into the equation that produced today? And some of those variables might be, well, I stayed up till 3 a.m. watching the Olympics, and I watched all those, the water polo and the marathon walking and all those amazing events that I didn't even know were Olympic sports. And I went to bed at 3 a.m. and I had to get up at 5 and I feel super tired today. Well, maybe you got 2 hours of sleep, and maybe 2 hours of sleep is an independent variable in you feeling groggy and tired and not being very efficient today, right? So maybe sleep is one. Maybe you said, gosh, I wish I hadn't had that 18th glass of wine, right? I had 18 glasses of wine and now I feel groggy today. I have a headache and I don't feel very good. Maybe the amount of alcohol you consumed yesterday is excessive. I hope you didn't have 18 glasses of wine, by the way. I'm being facetious, obviously. But let's say that you did something like that. Then you would regress that back and say, gosh, I've noticed when I have 4 glasses of wine, I feel worse than when I have 1 glass of wine. Or when I have 2 glasses of wine, I feel worse than when I have no glasses of wine, right? And I feel more efficient and more productive and more happy and healthy and all those things when I have X versus Y amount of alcohol, Cheetos, food, whatever, right? So regress it back. And then the question becomes, once we identify those independent variables that produce an outcome that we don't like or an outcome that we do like, do we have the guts? Do we have the strength? Do we have the integrity? Do we have the wisdom to say, okay, I have noticed, and the data is clear, that when I eat 14 bags of Cheetos at 2 in the morning, I'm not very clear-headed at 7 o'clock when I go to work. So I'm going to stop eating those Cheetos in the middle of the night because that is hurting my ability to have today. Lisa and I have this thing that we talk about. I've talked about it on the podcast before called the tomorrow tax. There are some things, when you do them, that you pay for them the next day with inefficiency or with debt or with relationship issues. There's some things that if you do them today, you will pay a tax tomorrow. We call it the tomorrow tax. Probably should have called it the yesterday tax, but we've got a long track record of talking about it, call it the tomorrow tax now. That tomorrow is not as good as it could have been because of something you did today, right? I guarantee if you say a certain set of things to your wife or you say a certain set of things to your husband, tomorrow's not going to be very pleasant for you, right? I had a friend recently that told me a story about their spouse, and they had kind of got into a tiff, and it was just one of those days where they were not relating to one another very well, and they were getting under each other's skin, and they were working in the yard, and one of them turned around and noticed the other one was making a kind of a aggressive, sort of inappropriate, childish hand gesture behind their back in the front yard of their house, and was just so mad that they were making this sort of hand gesture that you might make in junior high to somebody right there in the front yard of their house. And I thought, gosh, if I did that, I would still be laying in the front yard because Lisa would have knocked me out. Right? My teeth would be scattered all over the yard. And the next day I would be at the dentist paying the tomorrow tax for something I did yesterday. So I'm just saying to you this morning, friends, since you're my friend and my partner, my patron, it's time to start kind of regressing our data back and looking at the variables that produce efficiency or inefficiency or godliness or ungodliness or peace or strain or happiness or heartbreak. It's time to start looking at those things a little more critically and regressing back and figuring out what those independent variables are, and then having the guts, the integrity, the faith, the wherewithal, the strength, the character to change the things that we need to change so that the next day we are more on track. I don't know anybody who ever said, and I certainly don't think I ever said, who wakes up one morning and says, gosh, you know what? Today would be so awesome if I just had one more chili cheese dog. If I had only had one more glass of wine, I would be so much happier today. If I'd only spent $1,000 more yesterday, I would be so much happier today. You don't hear people say things like that. They don't. Often, though, you say, oh my goodness, I would do anything if I hadn't sent that text message yesterday. Oh man, I wish I hadn't had that drink. I wish I just hadn't had that. I just wish I hadn't eaten all that food. I just wish I hadn't sent that email. It's usually regret mode when we're saying that we wished something was different about the previous day. It's almost never that we wish we had done more of something the previous day, right? And so if you use this linear regression idea, if you just look at the data and say, if I want to figure out a dependent thing, then I need to look at the independent things that went into producing this outcome, and I need to be smart enough and stalwart enough to make changes to my life so that those independent things are altered appropriately to produce the outcome that I want. That's the message for today. That's what I got for you. You start using that linear regression analysis. Go back to this verse again, 1 Corinthians chapter 9, 26 and 27. So I run with purpose in every step. You think those Olympic athletes just wake up one morning and decide they're going to go try out for the Olympics? No. They've spent years, their whole lives, trying to get in shape and get prepared to sort of perform and compete on the world-class level. Those people spend their lives with purpose. Everything they do, everything that goes in their mouth, every time they decide when it's time to go to bed, every aspect of their life is purposeful to head towards the goal that they have. They're not just playing around. They're not shadowboxing. It's not an amateur event for them. Let's line up and go for a race and see who wins. That's not how it is. They discipline themselves. And Paul says, I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should do. That's your whole life, friend. And if you want to be healthy, feel better, and be happier, you have to change your mind around some things. And one way to do that is to use this linear regression idea. Lisa and I right now, so we're talking about some of the things that are coming up next for us. We are going backwards and we're looking at some of those variables, and we're going to make some hard changes. We're going to make some real things different going forward than they have been in the past. It's time. It's time for you too. It's time to look at the variables and look at the data. Take note of your life. Discipline yourself. Run with purpose. And remember that you can't change your life until you change your mind. Listen, friend, it's dry December. We're heading into new year 2023. It's going to be the year of the Lord's favor as long as you let Him grow something new in that ground that He's ready to water. You dried up something that's been holding you back. Let Him plant that new thing, and let there be streams in the wilderness. Let Him make a way where there is no way. And let's get after it. And let's start today.
Who the sun sets free is free indeed. Who the sun sets free is free indeed. I'm no longer a slave. I've been adopted by His grace. Who the sun sets free is free indeed. the King. Who the sun sets free is free indeed. Who the sun sets free is free indeed. I'm no longer a slave. I've been adopted by His grace. Who the sun sets free is free indeed. Free indeed.
Hey, thanks for listening. Please subscribe to the show so you automatically get every episode. And if you like the show, you'll love my weekly letter. Check out my writing at drleewarren.substack.com, drleewarren.substack.com. Get the free newsletter every week for my best prescriptions for becoming healthier, feeling better, and being happier through the power of faith and neuroscience smashing together via self-brain surgery. drleewarren.substack.com. And if you need prayer, go to the prayer wall at wleewarrenmd.com/prayer. The theme music for the show is Make Us One by Tommy Walker, graciously provided for free by the great folks over at TommyWalkerMinistries.org. Check it out and consider supporting them. TommyWalkerMinistries.org. Remember, you can't change your life until you change your mind. And the good news is you can start today. I'm Dr. Lee Warren. I'll talk to you soon. God bless you, friend. Have a great day.